Sustainability is more important than getting the results today. It just is. Because the results will fade, and if you don't know what buttons to push to keep them or to get those results back, you're going to be jeffing.
It's just not a real thing. So don't be the person who wants the quick fix. Don't be the person who wants short-term results at the expense of their long-term capabilities. We believe in the long term.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode, number 918, staying on the same page as your significant other. It is last week's live podcast. Today, for episode number 919, would you rather look successful or be successful? Oftentimes, being successful requires you to look unsuccessful for a long amount of time. The analogy Alan and I used was, if you want to have a nice home, every morning you can wake up and you can push a cardboard cutout of a mansion up, and you can just set it up where people drive by and they see this cardboard cutout of a mansion and they say, wow, what a wonderful house. Or you can get a bunch of bricks, you can get a bunch of concrete, you can get a bunch of turf, you can get a bunch of vinyl for a pool, you can get a bunch of wood, you can get a bunch of materials, and you can spend the next year and a half, 2 years building the house of your dreams. But while you're building the house of your dreams, it's going to be a mess. I mean, your front yard's going to be a mess. It's going to be all muddy because of the forklifts delivering the material. And for a while, you're going to have a tarp over the house because you're not going to have a roof. But when you complete that house, it's going to be real. It's going to be actual success. It's not going to be you looked successful the whole time and then you had to find a new place to live. You probably looked unsuccessful for the majority of the house build, but then when everybody drives by, they're going to say, oh, wow, what a success. Oh, wow, what a beautiful home. So there's really only one way to go with this. If you're pretending to look successful, you're hurting yourself in the long run because you're not building the skills, you're not creating the necessity to change. So I have two clients. One of my clients ended up going and working with somebody else probably a year ago. And I have nothing against this client. I still love this person. I still root for this person. But it's a different path that they took, and I think it applies to this episode. So this person went to work with somebody else, and very quickly, a lot of the content changed. I started to notice that this person was getting a ton of views on Instagram. And upon research and understanding how it works on Instagram, I've studied it long enough at this point, I know that none of those views are real. So much, in fact, that sometimes this person will post the same video twice, and one of the videos gets 11,000 views, the other one gets 15. So it's very clear that it's not the video that's doing the work. There's some sort of paid for views going on here. And again, you do you. That's the way this person wants to go. I have another client who just started with us recently. And I think he's 8 episodes in, and he's in the fitness industry. He's a fitness coach. He's doing very, very well in business. And on a coaching call I had with him, we were talking, and I said, how is it feeling? How do you feel overall? And he said, well, it's still early, and I know it's going to take time to build up momentum. He said, my main thing is consistency. I'm not going to miss. I won't miss. And he said, I'm looking down the road. I'm looking at episode 500. Like, we just got to keep going, keep going, keep going. That is a tale of two different people. Because the second one who's already focused on episode 500 will win. The first one who is paying for views on Instagram and maybe paying for listens on the podcast, that person will not win. Because all of the time, the energy, the focus, the money that person is putting into looking successful is being wasted because you're not able to replicate that. If that energy and that time and that focus was put into becoming more valuable, to becoming a better speaker, to impacting more lives, to having more one-on-one calls, to understanding the art of coaching and podcasting, that person would be more successful. So you can really only optimize for one thing. You can either optimize for looking good or being good, looking successful or being successful. There's a ton of shows out there that, I won't say a ton. There's many shows out there that have more listens than Alan and I. I think as of today, we have 520,000 something. But there are very few shows, I would argue probably none, that have 520,000 listens and are on track to do $500,000 over the next 12 months. That doesn't exist that much. One of the reasons why is because Alan and I suck at looking successful. We're not good at that. That is not a strength we have, to a detriment, honestly, but it's also not something we've focused on. We have focused every single day on how to be successful, and that's exactly why we will be more successful in the long run than most people. So ask yourself, if I am splitting up my energy, my money, my focus, my time, my intentionality, if I'm focusing or if I'm splitting that, where is it going? Am I focusing on 75% looking successful and then with the remaining 25%, I'm trying to get successful? Because if that's the case, you're probably never going to be as successful as you want to be.
So both of these individuals that I'm going to tell this story about, again, would you rather look successful or actually be successful? It's a question I want everyone to ask themselves. Both of the individuals that I'm going to tell this story about have given me permission in advance to tell these stories, and they know who they are. I'm still going to keep it anonymous, though. So I have two people close to me. One of them drives a old, I think it's like a 2008 or something like that, Toyota Corolla. And we laugh and we joke about it because she literally has the paint of the car chipping off of her roof. And this person has tons of money in the bank account, like tens of thousands, almost $100,000 in her bank, liquid capital on hand. And she has hundreds of thousands of dollars in an investment portfolio that is growing at a good rate. She's what I refer to as a really intelligent financial investor who set herself up for long-term success. Now, she does not appear successful to anyone who doesn't know finance. So I realized and now there's this other individual who I also care for dearly, but she exited my life for a little while, and I noticed that she bought a brand new Jeep, and it's a really nice one, very expensive one. I think this Jeep was like, I don't know, almost 30 grand. I don't really know the prices of cars, so whatever. But either way, when I saw this happen and I saw her post about it, I thought, ooh, major jeffing. Big mistake. Because not only is that going to cost you more on gas, but it's also going to cost you more on insurance. And I knew this person's financial situation, right? You're not at the level where that Jeep makes sense. As a matter of fact, there's almost no level where that Jeep makes sense, but I digress. These two people both came to my house on a Saturday together at the same time. One of them pulls up across the road here. We live in a condo complex. In her 2008 Toyota Corolla with paint chipping off the roof. And I think she will be very wealthy in the future. And I know that she will be. So this person, I'm certain, mathematically speaking, assuming that the world continues on the trend that it's trending, will be a multimillionaire. And that's just a mathematical fact. The other person pulls up in a brand new, crisp, clean, beautiful Jeep. One of them is living fairly paycheck to paycheck, only has about $5,000 working capital in the bank, maybe less. And the other one has $70,000 in the bank and hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of long-term investments that are very intelligently invested because one of the people close to her is a financial teacher. Now, on the outside looking in, if you're not aware of financial concepts, if you're not aware of the 7 fundamentals of finance, if you're not aware of long-term investments and the power of that, then of course you're going to think the person with the Jeep is doing better. You're going to think the person with the Jeep has a better career, has a better trajectory, will be wealthier, will be more successful. But you'd be very wrong. You'd be very, very wrong because you're thinking of the now. Everyone out there right now, the people who are focused on looking successful now are usually not going to be successful later. I'm going to try to explain this the very best that I can. If your focus, first of all, what you focus on dictates everything you do and don't do, everything you think and don't think, everything you feel and don't feel. What you focus on dictates your entire life. And so if you are on any level focused on short-term looking successful now, then that by definition is at the detriment of being successful later. Whether it's Jeff Bezos in 1994 with investors saying, "What's the internet?" and him alone selling books from his garage, or it's Kevin and I podcasting from my sister's old bedroom 4 years ago. See, if you saw us back then with a terrible black backdrop, with my sister was an x-ray tech and we had this little mascot with a muscle shirt on. It was a little skeleton. We called him Steve McQueen. Shout out to Steve McQueen of the Hyperconscious podcast. See, if you saw us back then, you probably wouldn't have thought we would be very successful. You'd have been very wrong, because what you didn't know is that we were focused on being really successful in the long term. We weren't focused on looking successful in the short term. Now, we've come up on that a little bit, which is good, but you have to be very, very careful. And everyone out there right now, I want you to think, am I focused on long-term real success, helping real people in a deeply meaningful way? Or am I focused on perception? Am I focused on appearing wealthy rather than being wealthy? The person with the Toyota Corolla will be wealthy. It's a mathematical certainty unless something catastrophic happens to the world. The person with the Jeep who appeared more successful was in trouble. And I'm actually proud to say that she's actually since gotten rid of that Jeep. I think she might still have it, but she refinanced or something. But the point is she's making really intelligent financial choices now because I was able to get through to her and say that, and again, it's not about the Jeep or the Corolla. It's about the thinking. It's about Kevin and I were never focused on, hey, let's start a podcast and let's look successful. We've never once wanted to just look successful. We wanted to really help people in a deeply meaningful way. We help real people in the real world in a real deeply meaningful way. We aren't doing it for views. We aren't doing it for Instagram likes. We aren't doing it for Facebook likes. We're more focused on helping our clients and our listeners than maybe any podcast ever has been. I mean, Kev, we're getting on the phone with listeners. I'm emailing listeners, me specifically, who download our course saying thank you. If you're a listener of this show, you are so unreasonably important to us. We will help you succeed in the real world in a real way, congruent with you. And I used to think that other people were like that. And I think that some people are, and I'm not going to take away from that. But in this industry, it has been drastically humbling and frustrating to see how few people really are more successful in the real world, in their real life, than they are in the digital world and in the marketing. And it just remember this, when you buy a bag of chips and it's only a third full, you get disappointed. I don't want anyone out there listening or watching this podcast to be a bag of chips that's only a third full. Be a bag of chips that looks beautiful and looks delicious and it's also full. That's going to be great. That's what we want to do. And that's why you'll be successful in the long run, not just in the short term.
Next Level Nation, I know many of you out there probably don't feel super supported. You probably feel alone, and you don't feel like you're going to be successful. And what's worse is, even if you do find success, you're probably going to be celebrating by yourself. What if you're just in the wrong rooms? I remember the first live event I went to. For the first time in my life, I finally felt like I fit in. I felt like I was valued for the person that I wanted to be, and big dreams were not only okay, but they were par for the course. That live event changed my life more than anything. And I was so afraid to go, but Alan convinced me to go, and since I had somebody to go with, it was much, much easier. Next Level Live is March 26th in Worcester, Mass. If you're scared to come alone, bring a friend. We're giving away 5 free tickets, but we're only giving them away to our local listeners. We want to meet each and every one of you. Make sure you get a free ticket while you can, because when they're gone, they're gone.
It is first come, first serve. Click the link in the show notes. It'll take you to the landing page. Put quantity 2, grab a friend, and put promo code local listener. It will make checkout $0. Get your ticket as soon as possible. Again, first come, first serve. And local listener, you can copy and paste from the show notes.
We'll see you there. Yeah, you really have to be able to build the sustainable systems. I think that's the layer under all of this is if Alan and I went viral, and I don't ever foresee that happening, nor do I desire for that to happen, really. I don't necessarily think personal development goes viral, but if we were to go viral when we recorded the first episode together, we wouldn't have had to learn everything we've learned. Therefore, we wouldn't Next Level Podcast Solutions never would have gotten built. A lot of the things that we have today never would have gotten built, which now have made us more successful, which now we've learned more about, which gives us an opportunity to learn more at the next level, and then rinse and repeat. I think that you really have to check in with, do you want the results now, or do you want the capability to replicate the results? Because I remember, you'll remember this, Alan, it was winter, and I had just learned how to video edit, and I was hanging out with Matt. He was my roommate and my best friend, and we lived together, and I said, hey, will you shoot a video for me? Like, I have an idea, man. This might go viral. And I ran out the door. I ran down our porch. We had a porch that was like, I don't know, 7 feet off the ground. I did a front flip off the porch over the railing into the snow, and then I grabbed my protein shake and chugged it. And I was thinking to myself, hey, I've seen videos like this go viral. I don't know what I would have done if it went viral. It's not like I would have been able to capture it. I just would have been like, yeah, I have a viral video. So you really have to understand that it's very similar to the lottery. It's very similar to somebody giving you the body of your dreams. You will look successful for a short amount of time, but you won't actually be it unless you can sustain it. Sustainability is more important than getting the results today. It just is, because the results will fade. And if you don't know what buttons to push to keep them or to get those results back, you're going to be jeffing. You have anything to add before we get out of here?
Yeah, one more quick story. Kev, back when I used to go to Crunch Fitness in Worcester, there was one individual who was following me at the time when I was doing fitness modeling, fitness coaching, fitness competitions. And you might remember this guy, and I'll keep it anonymous, of course. But he came up to me and he said, so, dude, I started a cycle. And for those of you who don't know, a cycle means you're on steroids. And I'm a natural bodybuilder. Kevin's a natural bodybuilder. We never use steroids, never will. I never will. And
shots fired.
not saying that you will, but I don't want to dictate that decision for
Once
you.
I get to 50, everything's all options are open.
all options are open.
I'm just kidding.
No, we're going to be natural bodybuilders forever. But anyways, so he came up, he's like, I'm doing a cycle. Kev, this dude, I'm telling you, in 3 months later, I saw this guy, and I was like, oh my God. The dude put on so much size and so much muscle mass in such a short amount of time. I couldn't believe it. He must have put on 15 pounds of muscle somehow in like 3 months. Kev, and this is my point for the listeners and viewers. I ran into him recently, and it wasn't that long ago. It was probably like 6 months ago, so not that recently. Dude, he's very fat now. Like, Kev, have you ever seen that happen?
Oh, yeah.
I just want to talk directly with you. Have you seen that happen before?
Of course.
I've seen that happen several times where someone goes on steroids, aka tries to skip steps and cheat, and then they end up really fat later. If you're trying to skip steps from the start, you're not going to climb the whole mountain. I was going to say that one more time. If you're trying to skip steps from the start, you're not going to climb the whole mountain. Kevin and I coach a lot of people all over the world. We can tell if your attitude right up front is to try to get quick fixes and short results, we kind of tell you we're not the right fit. We're not here to help you get short results. We're here to help you have a career, have a business that lasts, make a deeply meaningful impact. And it's just not a real thing. So don't be the person who wants the quick fix. Don't be the person who wants short-term results at the expense of their long-term capabilities. We believe in the long term. You know, the tortoise and the hare. The hare was supposedly winning the race the whole time, and the tortoise crossed that finish line first. But no one knew that during the race. During the race, the tortoise looked like he was losing the entire time until he won.
I'll add this last thing. If you told me 5 years ago that working with millionaires would make me realize that I don't necessarily enjoy working with millionaires as much as other people, I would have told you you're crazy. Now, I do have some clients, Alan and I both have clients who are millionaires who are hungry for it. And that's the best thing in the world. But I've also worked with millionaires who, at this point, when it comes to podcasting, they would rather look successful than be successful. Because in life, they're already successful. So they are going to take shortcuts. They're going to buy follows, buy likes, whatever it may be, because they don't need the result. They don't need it for their well-being. They don't need it. They don't have the necessity. It's kind of like another trophy to hang on the wall. And for that reason, they probably won't get it. And they'll never get the impact that comes with that actual level of success, which is, honestly, that's the sad part. really. But I want to bring that up because you might think to yourself, well, a millionaire is already successful. Of course they want to be successful when it comes to starting a podcast. No, because when you're already very successful, the last thing you want to do is start over. The last thing you want to do is drop your ego and say, oh yeah, I remember what it's like to start something from the very, very start, from the very beginning, from inception, when it was nothing but a pile of sticks and I had to build it into something. So a lot of people are looking to skip steps. And when you have the money to do it, for them, it's easier to look successful than it is to be successful. So I thought that's important to add as well, because you don't ever want to lose that. You don't ever want to lose that hunger. It's the hunger to succeed, not the hunger to look successful. You do not get true impact until you're truly successful. Real, actual, sustainable impact. You don't get that from just looking successful. It doesn't work that way. Next level, nation. If you find yourself in this journey alone and you're thinking, you know what, I really wish I had some sort of resource that I knew it's something I can trust, and it's something that's going to point me in the right direction, and it's from humans that I trust who I know are actually successful. I know they don't just look successful. I know they're successful behind the scenes. We made a free course for you. Totally free. Click the link in the show notes below. It'll take you there. But it's what Alan and I have learned over the years. We broke it into an 1.5-hour course that will help you not only get started, but it'll help you build momentum towards the next level of your life. Totally free. You can download worksheets that come with it. You can download the whole course and take it at your own pace. And you can always bring a friend in, and you can take it with a friend as well, so you guys can grow at the same rate.
We've graduated 5 groups of 10, so 50 people have officially graduated from group coaching. Every one of those 50 people who did participate and actually ended up showing up and doing the work would tell you that they were far more accountable and far more consistent than they would have been alone. If you need that Mario Kart booster in your life, what I will tell you is this. You will not be as successful if you're not on a team of like-minded, growth-oriented people who are committed to being successful. From 0 to 10, where's your commitment? If it's a 9 and you're around a bunch of 7s, yours is going to go down. If yours is a 9 and you're around a bunch of 10s, it's going to go up. That's what group coaching is designed for. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Group 6 starts on April 19th. There's 10 individuals, so 9 other individuals, in a private WhatsApp group with Kevin, myself, and our champion, Greg, as the assistant coach, with you every step of the way. We have 6 bi-weekly sessions. It's a 3-month program, 90 days. Achieve more in 90 days than you ever have. And yes, achieve more. Yes, you're going to have like-minded people around you. Yes, you're going to connect and collaborate. Yes, you're going to be held accountable. But you will achieve more in these 90 days than you ever have before. And we're going to set you up with attitudes, systems, frameworks, and levels of thinking that are far beyond what you currently have to make sure that this stays. And that's what we said to Legacy by Design, the last group on the last session, session 6. We said, we don't want this to be the end. We want this to be the beginning for you. We want this to be the springboard that sets a new standard for your life. Group 6, link in the show notes. Please join us. I think there's already 4 spots completely locked. I think 7 or so people interested. It's going to fill up within the next few weeks, so get in there ASAP.
Next level nation, tomorrow for episode number 920. It is last week's live Q&A. How can I introduce growth to my partner? That is a question I'm sure Alan gets a lot. I have gotten that a lot as well. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. Please, if you have not left us a review, leave us a review on the platform of your choice. We love you. Appreciate you. Grateful for all of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Please reach out.